In many ways, licensing your music is the antithesis of performing music live. When you play live, you get an immediate sense of gratification. You get immediate feedback from the crowd you're performing for, and at the end of the night, you get paid immediately. Licensing your music, on the other hand, is almost the complete opposite of this scenario. Typically, it takes quite a bit of hustling and networking to even get your music licensed in the first place. Then once your music is licensed, oftentimes you don't even know about it until months after the fact when you receive your royalty statement showing you when and where your music was placed. Where performing live is exciting and fills me with an immediate hit of adrenaline, licensing music is usually pretty anticlimactic. Don't get me wrong. It's exciting to have your music heard in TV shows or films that hundreds of thousands of people or even millions of people hear in some cases. But the whole business is set up in a way that makes it pretty anticlimactic. It can often take between 6 to 9 months to get paid for placements. My publisher sometimes lets me know in advance when my music is going to be heard on specific shows when she knows, but oftentimes I have no idea where my music is being licensed until after the fact. But my favorite thing about licensing music is the ability to create a stream of passive income that generates money year after year. That's the exciting part. I like to think of performing live and selling CDs and downloads as my quote-unquote day job, and licensing music as sort of a 401k plan. I look at my songs as being like stocks. Some of them perform really, really well right away, and others are sleepers that take a while to perform. Every year, I generate several $1,000s from a relatively small catalog of music I wrote and recorded years ago. I'm, of course, always writing and recording new music that I'm adding to my catalog, but I have a collection of music that I wrote as far back as 5 or 10 years that I still make money from every year. Some of these songs are licensed into totally new projects, and others I receive royalties for shows that have gone into syndication. And sometimes I'll have a song that I wrote years ago that just gets picked up out of the blue. In this video, I'm going to show you an example of one of these songs that got licensed many years after I wrote and recorded it. This particular example is pretty extreme. I wrote a song called Up to You about 10 years ago. It was originally going to be a rock song with vocals, but I had quote-unquote artistic differences with the producer I was working with at the time, who wanted to turn it into more of a pop-punk song a la Blink-182, when I was going for a more straight-ahead rock song a la Van Halen, AC/DC, or something like that. Due to our different visions for the song, we never finished it, and in the end, all I had was an instrumental version. I submitted it to my publisher anyway, and she accepted it into her catalog. But it sat there for years and years until I noticed on my most recent ASCAP statement that Fox Sports had used this track like 20 times. This song is so old that it took me a while to even remember the track and what it sounded like. In fact, it had been so long, I didn't even have the song on my hard drive anymore. As I've changed computers so many times since then, I've lost a few tracks from that far back. So I emailed the publisher who placed this track, and she kindly emailed it to me. So although the nature of licensing music can be pretty slow-paced and anticlimactic, getting checks for songs you wrote and recorded years ago never gets old. Here's the track I'm referring to, Up to You, as heard recently on Fox Sports.